She's talking about her downstairs. Netflix capture B. Matthew Golf outright's touch is so toxic that it poisons honest conversation about, well, almost everything. One example, right-wing trolls have made it impossible to reasonably criticize new stand-up comedy specials, including Amy Schumer's new hour of comedy on Netflix, The Leather Special, isn't good. The critical and fan reviews reflect that. If you Google The Leather Special right now, you'll get two explanations why. One side, represented by sites such Breitbart, says Schumer sucks and she's ruining comedy. The other side claims those negative reviews are part of a concerted effort by internet bullies to drag Schumer through the mud. It feels like every new, controversial piece of art provokes a fight that forces everyone to form up along political lines, and it's fucking exhausting. The Leather Special begins with the embattled comedian strutting onto stage, baby talking to a bottle of wine and explaining her all-leather outfit. Every comic has some special wear they wear all leather and they regret it later, Schumer explains. Were I Schumer, I'd regret the Leather Special. Not because of her clothing, but because the set just isn't very good. Look, I like Schumer. I think she's funny. Her television show Inside Amy Schumer is frequently brilliant. Her special mostly sex stuff is great. If Trainwreck trimmed half an hour off its runtime, it'd be a classic. But that's director Judd Apatow's fault. Save for an anecdote about Schumer's Peabody Award nod and a great bit about gun control, the Leather Special just isn't up to snuff. Her last special for HBO wasn't stellar, either. I have a few friends who are working the stand-up circuit. I asked them why they think the last few Schumer specials haven't been great. They explained that it's really hard to come up with a new hour of fresh material every year, tour the country, make a movie and produce a hit TV show all at the same time. Fair enough. Dave Chappelle also released new material on Netflix in late March 2017. It includes two different sets, each about an hour long. They're both brilliant. They're tight, well-crafted and full of hilarious and uncomfortable insights. But Chappelle hasn't produced anything big in a decade. He's hardly overworked. This is the part of a review where I normally dive deeper into why there's such a stark difference in quality between the two sets, tie it back into a conversation about how comedians work and the pressures of the road. But I'm not going to, and that's because of the fucking alt-right. Schumer's Leather Special has not been well received. If you believe the Netflix reviews, most people, even her die-hard fans, have given it low marks. The star rating for the special hovers around 1 or 2. But here's the thing. The new white nationalists hate Schumer. Days after the special aired, Netflix announced it would change its review system from a star-based affair to a simple thumbs up or thumbs down. Breitbart wants you to think the system is changing because Schumer sucks. It's also possible Netflix had no choice but to change the system in order to prevent the alt-right from assassinating Schumer's reputation. On 4chan and Reddit's The Donald, Schumer is a favorite target of abuse. Last year, Bud Light aired ads featuring Schumer and Seth Rogen hawking beer. Bud Light sales declined, the company pulled the ad and the online trolls cheered and claimed responsibility. So when Schumer's new special hit Netflix, the festering white nationalist movement organized in order to tank her ratings. It worked. But it's hard to tell just by reading through the reviews how many come from trolls and how many are actual honest critiques from normal people. And that's the problem. The Leather Special has more than 2,800 written reviews on Netflix now, and if they're all trolls, then they're well conceived. I barely made it through 15 minutes of this drivel, one user writes. I laughed more during Schindler's List. 0 stars, that's an obvious unfair critique. Indeed, so many reviewers compare the special to Schindler's List that it can't be a coincidence. But for every obvious troll, there are 2 reviewers whose critiques seem reasonable. Amy's work has always managed to be hilarious, bawdy and vulgar, one reviewer writes. Her Leather Special unfortunately falls under none of the aforementioned categories. There's nothing more painful to watch than a half-assed routine and an unforgiving live audience. 2 stars, only because I loved her HBO special and Trainwreck. Come on Amy, your fans deserve better. In an attempt to save her sanity, Schumer seemingly decided to ignore all criticism of the set. Call me a whale, she wrote on Instagram. Call me a thief and I will continue to rise and fight and lead. I know who I am. I am strong and beautiful and will use my voice my whole time on this earth. It's a position I understand, but it's also a frustrating. Especially when she repeatedly called out journalists in her response and implored us to do better. I am only alarmed by the people printing their organized trolling as news. This is what the current administration wants, she wrote. Journalists, do better, it's embarrassing. Look, I'm a fan. I like Schumer, but her leather special just isn't up to her usual standards.